most common lesson I give by far is improving golfers' ball striking with their irons. And I would say 3 issues come up time and time again. Okay, so what do we see? Well, we see inconsistency in that low point control. So we know that when we are trying to strike the golf ball, that we want to hit the ball and then the turf. Okay, if we can get that, we are going to get a good level of consistency. Okay, guys that struggle, they cannot get that low point control. So as they are striking the golf ball, they are reaching their low point far too early and then either hitting the ground, catching it heavy, or coming up on the ball, catching it thin. Both are the same problem. It's controlling that low point. Okay, if we think about the way that the swing works, it's on this natural arc. Okay, so as we are coming down into the golf ball, we are striking the ground and then we are coming up. And really it's all around that. So if you're naturally low pointing, your low point's too early, we know what's going to happen. Okay, so trying to get that low point control is everything. Okay, so as I said, for me, 3 super common mistakes that I see 9 times out of 10. Okay, so the first thing in terms of that setup, what we're looking to do is 2 key things. Get that ball in the middle of the stance. We want that ball right in between the heels. Okay, so if we're taking our setup, very, very simply, start with your feet together, with your feet opposite the ball, and then just take an even step either side of the ball. Okay, that's going to give you a nice repeatable movement that's going to get you into that process of getting that ball in the middle. As soon as that ball gets forward, we know it's so hard to strike it consistently because you are going to get the ground early, catch it heavy, or come up and catch it thin. Okay, coupled with that, what I want you to do is make sure that you get your hands forward at setup. So we go through that routine of ball in the middle, opposite the feet, and then just take the even step either side of the ball, and then I want you to get those hands forward. Okay, so if we're looking at ourselves here, we should see a nice line from shoulder, down the arm, all down the club. I see so many guys in this position, and that causes that dreaded early release, guys kind of falling back, club head overtaking, and we are losing the wrist angles that we are looking for. As soon as we're in this position here, it can work for certain players. I do see certain players making up for it and getting that shaft lean, but ultimately if your hands are back, then there's a high chance that club's going to overtake, ball at low point early, and then we know that club face control goes as well. So not only do you lose the strike, you're losing that face control too. Okay, so that, I would say that's the easiest part. Okay, getting the setup right. For me, I think anyone should be able to get the correct setup. Okay, in the backswing. Okay, so assuming you've got the right setup, ball in the middle, hands forward. Now I see again 2 common faults. Okay, so I see guys swaying off the ball either with the hips or with the upper body. Okay, so it's one of those 2 things. Okay, it's the sliding and swaying with the hips or moving that way. What I want you to think about in the golf swing, especially in the body action here, you've got 2 center points. Okay, middle of the pelvis, middle of the sternum. Okay, so as we take our setup here, as we are rotating, these center points should stay pretty central on the backswing. Okay, as soon as either one of these moves, makes it so hard to get that low point control, to get that strike. Okay, so if you think about it from here, all you're trying to do is you're trying to rotate, so get that left hip moving back, and then we want to feel like this left shoulder is working down. Okay, so left hip back, left shoulder down. Okay, what that allows me to do is, again from there, left hip, right hip back, left shoulder down. That allows me to keep my head really, really still. Okay, we know it might move ever so slightly, so it might move ever so slightly, but what we don't want this swaying off the ball. Okay, because for a driver you could probably get away with it, but for an iron it's so difficult, because as soon as we're moving off it, we're hanging back on this right side, very, very difficult to get into that, you know, that impact position that we're all looking for where we are in that left side, okay? So when it comes to that drill, just, I say, get that club across the chest, get yourself into this good impact, good setup position, and then you're just going to make a backswing, and you're going to try and get the grip pointing just beyond the ball, okay? But keeping it nice and central. You'll see as I'm doing that, it's so easy there to keep my head nice and still. As soon as this grip goes almost beyond the ball there, very, very difficult. So as soon as we're doing this, we're moving off the ball. Equally, we might get guys sliding, and again, from that position, if you look at that sliding movement there, the grip's over here. So get the right hip turning, get that left shoulder moving down. You'll start to feel that resistance. If you are somebody that doesn't have a lot of flexibility, I want you to try and turn your feet out and just exaggerate this move going back. As soon as you open out your hip, straighten that trail leg a little bit, you'll find it's so much easier to turn, okay? I think historically where guys have tried to keep the lower body very rigid, we know that it's super hard to turn. So allow that back leg to extend, allow the hip to turn, get that shoulder pointing down. Okay, going into my final tip, and make sure you do stay to the end because we've got a very simple drill that's going to help you with your ball striking. Okay, so into this setup position, we've got hands forward, ball in the middle, we've got a nice centered pivot, and then the final most common fault I see is in this weight transfer. So what guys tend to do in an effort to get the ball up in the air, they tend to hang back on this trail foot. So we see guys, so many guys hanging back here, trying to help it up in the air, okay? As soon as that happens, again, think about our center points. If our center points, our sternum, as soon as that tilts back, what's gonna happen? That club bottoms out, we're gonna hit that ground. And again, it's so hard to get the strike, so hard to get that face control, okay? So think about the center point, what we're trying to do, rotate, and then as we come down, move those center points forward. Move the hips, move the sternum. We need to get into this lead side where we are gonna get max. I would almost say if you're in the camp here where you tend to lean back, I'd be trying to get 90% of your weight into this lead foot. So very much getting into this position here, allowing that hip to unwind, allow that lead leg to extend and feel like you're covering the ball. We hear that with so many top players. They feel like they are covering the golf ball. As soon as you feel that, you're gonna hit that ball, you're gonna hit that turf. It's gonna be so easy to strike the ball, especially off the bad lies, okay? When we look at these faults independently, a lot of guys kind of get away with it off good lies. You know, if it's on the fairway, maybe it's propped up in the semi-rough. If you lean back, you can almost just sweep it off the top, but your faults get exposed when it's sat down. As soon as it's sat down, you need to compress the ball, get into the back of the ball. This is where it's so important to go through that process, make sure we are in the position we are looking for. Okay, so I want to leave you with a super simple drill that anyone can do on the range. Grab your golf towel, okay, my very dirty golf towel. And all you're going to do is fold it up. You're going to pop it about 6 to 8 inches behind the golf ball, okay? So if we pop it in this position here, start off further away and then progressively get it closer to the ball. What we're trying to do here is just create a visual image where as we come down, I want you to avoid hitting the towel. If you do any of these faults incorrectly, if you have incorrect setup, if you sway off the ball, if you lean back, there's a high chance you're going to hit the towel. It might look quite easy, but you'd be amazed, you know, as soon as we start to get into this, you know, I want you to feel like you're achieving everything we're trying to do here. And I want you to just move on to that left side. And even without a ball initially, just get used to hitting down, okay? So if we bring a ball into play here, start, as I said, maybe 10 inches initially away, just get into this nice, good setup position, Stay nice and centered. Hit down and through, and you're going to really improve that ball striking. Again, you'll see the attack angle there on the TrackMan there, -6. Okay, so that's me hitting 6 degrees down on the ball. Okay, so that means I can hit the ball and then the turf. And if you can see it, the low point number, 4.2 inches after the ball. So that means I'm striking the ball and then my low point of the arc is 4.2 inches after the ball. Okay, 3 common mistakes there, but equally 3 elements that are easy to fix. We've got a nice simple drill in there. I hope that helps, guys. Just a reminder, if this is your first time watching the channel, please like and subscribe. Don't hesitate to post any comments down below, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon.